Believe it! We found a leopard. I wasn't imagining things. And it must have alarm called at some kudu. Or the kudu must have alarm called at it. I'm so excited. I'm speaking back to front. This is absolutely awesome. Can you believe it? I'm just going to get my binoculars. I don't know if you guys know who it is, whether it's a male or a female. Oh no, that's a big male. And it looks to me like it's Mvula. Absolutely insane. Well spotted, Gendre. Gendre just started screaming, leopard, 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 leopard. I was looking in every direction opposite to the one that I needed to look in. But eventually I locked sight of it. And this is absolutely huge. We needed this so badly. This same leopard dodged us yesterday, just minutes before we went live, after spending the whole day with him. So this was a very, very welcome reward. Now I've got no doubt that either James or Peter, who's ever's closest, is rushing across here. Okay, well the TV audience is about to join us again, which is great because they missed out on that. Yes, we found a leopard. And I wasn't dreaming. There were obviously some kudu that spotted this leopard. We are at the waterhole where you started this afternoon safari with James and that herd of elephants. And isn't this just awesome? Gendre is doing a great job. He's zoomed into the maximum. And that leopard's probably about 50 meters, no, probably more, maybe 70 meters away from us at the moment. I don't think it's got any idea that we're here. We're in some thick bush. And he's a beautiful big male leopard. The one that Peter and Brent were searching for yesterday, it looks like to me. And his name is Mvula. He is one of the dominant males of Djuma. And he's just finished having a drink at the waterhole and he's lying up at the edge. We don't want to try and get any closer to him because we're going to wait for James and Peter to rush here in the vehicle. And they'll be able to get you much better views. And thankfully, one of them is about 2 minutes away. And I'm just going to get my game drive radio out quickly so I can be in comms with Peter and give him good directions as to where exactly he needs to come. This is so awesome.
One.
His way, he's just minutes away. And like I say, we don't want to try and get any closer right now because we run the risk of chasing this leopard away. More often than not, leopards will run away from you as opposed to confront you. They're animals of high elusiveness and they're usually very shy. And we've spent hours and hours tracking leopard, hoping to find them for you. And it's all paid off now. Yesterday we spent 7 hours with this exact leopard between drives, hoping that he was going to be ready for the afternoon safari. And then just minutes before Pete went live, he disappeared into a thick area. But thankfully, now it looks like he's going to take a bit of a snooze over there. And we don't have anything to worry about just yet. Although, I must say, when he does get moving, Pete's going to have a tricky job. This area is very thick, and depending on which direction this leopard moves, we may need to send in a few other vehicles to try and give Pete a hand. But it's too soon to panic, and for now, we can just enjoy the fact that we're viewing a leopard on foot in Africa live. It couldn't be any better. Just moments ago, we heard some kudu alarm calling, and isn't it wonderful how, by listening to the signs of the bush, and to the other animals in this area, they can help us to find what we're looking for. To a beautiful antelope called the kudu. I can hear Peter's vehicle now. He's getting close. I've turned my game drive radio off because it can get quite busy. And hello, Francisco. You would like to know how good the eyesight is of the leopard and also how good is their sense of smell and hearing. They've got incredibly good eyesight, especially at night time. Hearing and smell, their senses are impeccable. But on this windy afternoon, the wind is in our favor, so he hasn't smelt us. And because the bushes are blowing quite a lot around us, it's masked our movements. And that's why he's completely oblivious to us. And to be honest, even if he did know we were here, he probably wouldn't be too concerned because we are just so far away from him that we wouldn't pose any threat. I can hear Pete's vehicle, which is good news. You guys are about to get some great close-up views. And we're going to send you across to Pete right now. Good stuff and enjoy.
Guys, welcome in the vehicle. Brilliant work from Scott. We heard on the radio that he heard the kudu's alarm calling. And he's told me on the radio that the leopard is just on the dam wall. So it should be somewhere just here on our left-hand side. Oh, there it is. Yo, awesome. Looks like a male. Just first sort of look at him in terms of size. Guys, let's show you Scott and them as well on the walk. Brilliant. That's where they are. There's the leopard. Amazing work, both in terms of finding this and also being able to take it there on foot. Brilliant. Oh, stunning. I'm guessing this would be Mvula, just from the location he's in. This would be in the heart of his territory. Big male, as I said, just looking at the size and looking at the color. Even Mvula's got the slightly redder color. And while he's lying in that position, I want to just reposition us because we have the opportunity to get a spectacular view of him in terms of our possible location or our sort of setting, if you want. Isn't that amazing? I heard Scott on the radio earlier. It was like, kudu alarm calling. We've been looking for leopard. And you know, this whole afternoon I've been hoping to find a leopard, although I was hoping for Karula. But I'll take happily any leopard. Oh, he's coming down. Oh, look at that. Oh, beautiful. Looks like Mvula. He's going to go for a drink, maybe. I was going to come and try and sit underneath him so we could look up, but he's moving. Alarm call there from those birds in the back. Now called thick knees. They used to be called dikkop. And just look at that beautiful reflection. Flap underneath his neck. That sort of piece of skin hanging under his neck. That's a sign of a big male. Oh, it's late afternoon. It is hunting time. And in this time of the day is when leopards get active and hunt. I believe you might.
Pete tries to get back into a better spot for signal. We're going to try and creep you also into a better spot just to enjoy a view of him while we wait for Pete to get signal. We were also hoping on getting some shots of both Pete and the leopard in the same one, but we are going to be very cautious. We don't want to get in the way here. And we don't want to chase this leopard off, so bear with us if it takes a bit of time. But there's no editing or retakes on a live safari, so we've got to make sure we do it properly first time. Oh, there he is, he's moved. He's lying down on the water's edge, and he's between those two trees there, Gendre, or straight ahead of us. Great work, Gendre, on camera. So he's moved down closer to the water's edge, and he has been watching us now, so he does know we are here. But we're going to send you back to Peter. He's finally found some good signal, and enjoy the closer views you get of him now.
Well, as we were saying, it's not always the easiest thing to get people from all over the world to jump on the same safari vehicle. We found a new position, we've moved a little bit, and what a beautiful view of him. Magnificent animal. This Pacific male, it is Mvula. He's absolutely gorgeous. And we're sitting here in what is the perfect sort of prime time, if you want, of the afternoon in the bush. Late afternoon, you can see the lights are getting low. He's in fact in the shadows already. Sky is still reflecting off the water. I want to show you something to the left quickly. Just quickly look at all the fish in the water. This water is getting very low, and he's looking at the water almost with interest more than just drinking. And what I mean is that he's looking at that goose. There's some goslings there, and then all that sort of ripples you see, all those ripples on the water. Those are all fish because the water is almost finished. And I was just wondering, it's not something they typically do. but it might be possible. Let's just look at him again. We'll see that his tail is twitching. He's interested. He's not just looking at the waterhole. So I wouldn't be surprised if, well, I would be surprised, but it will be a pleasant surprise if he decides to maybe try and get a fish or two. It's not likely, but it's also not impossible. Guys, I must just very quickly talk to the game drivers. There's 1 or 2 vehicles responding here as well. Look at the tail twitching. Greg, just so you guys know, Ingwe is at Buffelshoek Dam. My radio will be turned down, we're live, but you can just pull in when you see us. Drives out here as well. We're going to hopefully sit with this leopard for a while. He's surprised us all, I think, by being back here. This is just for interest's sake, the leopard that we were looking for last night. And he evaded us constantly, so great to find him. And he was further south, so we expected him to keep going south and east. So he's actually come back on his own track again. So brilliant to see him here at Buffelshoek Dam. Guys, Sharon, Avant, big thank you there for finding the leopard. This was Scott's find. They were looking around this area. That's why they picked this area to walk this afternoon. Obviously, the waterhole is very attractive to many animals. And they heard the alarm calls. Kudus were calling, followed up, boom, find the leopard. When it comes to finding animals out here, especially animals like this that are not easy to find, teamwork is hugely important. Jelly, at this moment, this leopard could actually probably smell us. There's not much of a wind, but there's a very slight, almost just breath of a breeze that is moving from us towards the leopard. So not impossible that he could smell us. In terms of what's their best sense, I don't know. They've got all their senses are highly developed. Smell would be great. Hearing would be great. Vision would be great. Touch is even amazing. They've got these fine hairs around their toes so that when they're walking, it doesn't make noise. So any of those senses would be well evolved, or actually higher evolved than what we could typically imagine. Hello, Zach. I always like the name. It's a good name. And I like your city as well, by the way. New York is one of my favorite cities in the world. It's just another game drive vehicle joining us here. That's what the leopard, if you hear that sound of the engine. Zach, you were just asking how many different leopard have I seen in my time out here. I mean, I'll have to go far back to leopards as early as safari, female, 3-spot, white sock. All those leopards have moved on by now. Currently, the ones that we know around this area that we know are still alive, Karula, the one I was looking for earlier, Mvula, who is the father of some of Karula's young or independent offspring by now. Karula is the father of... Sorry, let me just retract. Too many names there. Karula is the mother, but this guy, Mvula, that we're looking at, would be the father of some of Karula's previous cubs, mainly Djuma. There you can see the game drive in the back. And Quarantine, another male that we still see sometimes. Those are young males. This guy would be a nice mature male. Mvula, in fact, he is 2009 when we started seeing him becoming dominant here. He was about 4 or 5 years old, so he'd be about 10 years old now, maybe 11, but I think closer to 10. Various females, Karula obviously towards the further west, sister, her daughter Shadow, and Tandi, another daughter of her, to the east as well. So many leopards we see. I could name all of them, but it's going to become a little bit boring and I'm going to get confused with all the beautiful names. Typically the leopard gets Shangaan names. Shangaan is the local African language in this area. Mvula in this case means rain. Perfect name for this time of the year. And Karula, the female I was looking for, means peaceful. Tandi, one of her daughters, means beautiful. And one of my favorite names, one of her previous male offspring, they've become independent by now. 2 males in Duna, which means chief. And Misha was one of my favorite leopards, Misha meaning dawn or sunrise. So typically we use culture around naming them as well. Oh, look at that face. He's got those, almost looks like ochre markings under the eyes, dark lines. question, do we ever get interaction between different cats in this reserve? Leopard, lion. And there was a question earlier actually, and then all this happened. I think it was Jeff that asked, Jeff, if you're still with us, about cheetah. We don't see many cheetah here. You get cheetah here, but we don't see many of them. It's a bit thick. This kind of environment that we're in is more suited towards cats like this, like leopard and lion. Cheetahs like the more open areas. Guys, we're just going to sit here for a bit because of, as we said, the signal's a bit tricky. He's going to probably get up and drink just now. Then we'd be in a perfect spot. And yes, short answer, we do get interaction, Cody. Quite often, in fact, just yesterday, when James found this leopard, he was interacting not with other cats, but with hyenas. I've seen over the years many different interactions between leopard and lion. Normally, where lion chase the leopard up a tree or steal their food. And leopard would also be able to chase cheetahs off their kills, and the same for lions. So, in order of dominance, lion would be more dominant than leopard. Leopard would be more dominant than cheetah. That's with the cats. But you would fit hyena and wild dog in between lion and leopard. So in terms of the big predators, you would have lion dominant, hyena, next after that wild dog, then leopard. Mainly because they're solitary. Leopards don't want to take a chance of getting injured because they're solitary. They don't have a pride to help them hunt, or a clan like hyenas. They need to look after themselves. So they avoid confrontation if they can. Let's just give you a view there to the left. Fortunately, we can't show those people in too much detail, but there you can see that's actually good friends of ours. We've known them for years. They've got one of the land in this area is theirs, and he's brought some friends and family out. And you were just asking Robin, are these leopards not bothered by us being so close to them? Not at all. As you can see, that leopard's not bothered by them, but also keep in mind, everyone obviously knows the basic rules and the basic manners around wildlife. You don't rock up here and sort of make a lot of noise and throw things and shout. You know, you're nice and quiet, normal tone of voice, and leopard get very used to us. It's actually very important to realize that Sabi Sands, this area that we're in, is probably one of the best areas. Well, not probably, it is one of the best areas in the world for this kind of viewing, photographic viewing or ecotourism if you want. In fact, a little bit further south of us was one of the first places they started doing this in the 60s already. So they've grown up with vehicles, they've gotten used to us, they know that we don't pose a threat, and therefore we can not only get close to them, but we can get amazingly intimate, natural behavior, and that really is the key, the things we can see them do. Now we're going to have a short break shortly, and we're going to stay here. When you come back, we'll see what this leopard gets up to. Oh, absolutely beautiful. Well, I think for now we're just going to enjoy this while we're waiting for the break for many people that are missing this. But yeah, I'm just happy I'm seeing a leopard. That's always good days. I was thinking earlier of maybe moving a bit, but I think we're going to stay right here since signal is holding. Just look at that face. I absolutely love his face. That's what I recognize him from, actually. He's just looking at his eyes. He's got quite a nice, big, almost jaguar-like head. But the eyes, it looked like, you know, in these old days when the Egyptians especially, they used to use, what was it? Not ochre, there's another... Come on, someone must help me here. What do you call what they use in the old days for darkening around the eyes? Obviously, these days it's all MAC and Revlon, but back then it was... Ochre is red, but there's something similar. Help me, guys. I need the word. Getting a little bit playful. I think he's going to move soonish. Tail flicking around at some flies. Yeah, he might even catch one. And I think then he's going to head down for a drink. I presume so. He might have drunk earlier. But the fact that he's walked down to the water again would suggest to me that he's still going to have another drink before he continues on. I think we're going to stay right here. I was really thinking of changing, but this is the best possible place for now. He's going to possibly drink, but let's tell her how we think about this. It's quite interesting, actually. He was up on that wall earlier. I'm expecting him to come down as he's done. He'd probably go and drink somewhere here. Also, the breeze is coming from behind us, so any debris floating in the water would have been pushed away from the side. So he'd hopefully drink, and then if we're lucky, he'll come walking right past us here along the edge of the water, or alternatively, he would come up the bank here to our right. So where we're sitting now, relative to how he was moving earlier, you try and find the best possible view, obviously, not only of what he's doing now, but you try and jump ahead a few minutes and hopefully position yourself in such a way that once he gets active and once he gets moving, you can get the best view as well. So that's just some of the, let's call it the behind-the-scenes thinking, if you want, of how you position yourself relative to wildlife to try and hopefully optimize the viewing experience. That's the plan. Not very long now before everyone joins us again. And, well, he could do anything at any second. I'm hoping he's going to drink. I'm hoping he's going to patrol. That's what he should be up to. And I'm also possibly hoping that he might go for a hunt. He's quite lean. Starling's calling in the distance. Very interesting. Guys, we're going to show you this quickly again, VM, because we might not be able to look at this. He's lying down now. And I know it's tricky to see, but if you look right there in the water, it looks like a texture almost of the water. Right there. I'm going to show you that quickly. All that breaking up of the water, all that sort of patterns you can see. Every little dot is a fish. They're thick as pea soup in there. That's the fish, but as much as they are crowded for a spate, as much as they are crowded, the leopard is nice and relaxed. Well, guys, welcome back. The leopard has enjoyed his break as well. He's almost fallen asleep now. And, well, as you may guess, we've just been sitting here and chatting with the guests that are still on the vehicle with us. Nice to have everyone back, though. This leopard is not doing much. We're expecting, what I'm hoping will happen, is that he will come down and drink. Let me just sort of give you some of the thinking behind this. Just to explain, that's two vehicles there. It's one of the private camps here, and they've got some, actually, families out here as well, so they're enjoying the view. What we're hoping will happen, and it might not, but he should still drink. We were talking about it earlier, that he should still be thirsty. That's why he came down to the water, and he should drink just in front of us here, somewhere here on the edge of the water. So we, a little bit of luck, we'll have a brilliant view of him. And I thought he might get up, but I think it was just a fly that was harassing him. Another fly. Flies are very brave insects, by the way. They harass leopards and elephants all the time. Well, that's an interesting question, Mia. And I'll show you just now. Let's just wait for another opportunity. Mia, who is 6. Mia, welcome on the Game Drive. I hope you're having a lovely time with us in Africa. And I'm sure you're loving this leopard. What a beautiful cat. You were wondering if leopards can swim. And yes, they can. They're actually very good swimmers. But the leopards in this part of the world, they don't really get into water that much because they don't need to cross big rivers and things like that. So it's not common to see them swim. And they don't always look like they enjoy the water, but they are very good swimmers and they can swim very well. Same with lions. Parts of Africa where there's a lot of water, like the Okavango Delta, their lions have even learned how to sometimes hunt by stalking in the water, by swimming in the water to get closer to the prey. So good swimmers, but not always very fond of it. I want to show you this quickly here to the left, and it's as soon as he gets up, I promise we'll get back to him. But all the way to our left here, we did speak about this earlier. Hello, Sabrina. Sabrina, welcome on Safari. And believe it or not, I just missed part of that question. But you were asking something about leopards and lions. I'll get the... Size comparison. Well, Sabrina, you're asking what's the size comparison between leopard and lion? Well, firstly, lions are bigger. And I'm just trying to think, you're 12 years old, so I'm guessing you'll be, I don't know that much about weights of... My kids are too small, so I know what small children weigh, but I'm guessing you would weigh about 25, 30 kilograms, let's say 60 pounds. A leopard like this, he's a big male, he would weigh about 80 kilograms, so at least 2, possibly 3 times as much as you. 80 kilograms, that's about 170, 180 pounds. And he's a big male. A female leopard would be about half that. Now compare those to lions, a big male lion. So if you compare a male leopard like this guy to a big male lion, a big male lion will weigh 200, 230, 250 kilograms would be a really big male. That's about 500 odd pounds. This male leopard, he weighs about the same as I do. In fact, he weighs probably very close to exactly the same. I weigh at the moment about 82 kilograms. That's 160, 175, 178 pounds. That would be the male leopard's weight. So a male lion would be 3 times that. A lioness, a little bit less. Lioness would be about 2.5 times as big as the leopard, this male. Well, question there from Quinn, how long do leopards live for? Male leopard, keep in mind they have to compete and fight with other males for territory, so often they would live, not as long in the wild because they live such a competitive life, but they would live to about 12, 14 years old, a little bit older perhaps. Female leopards sometimes make it to 18 or 20. That would be again on the old side of it. So let's say 10 to 13 for males, 13 to 16 for females. And you were asking earlier, we had the question, how many leopards in the area do we know? And as I said, some of them we know currently, like Mvula, who is sleeping here in front of us. And then some of the ones we don't know anymore because they've passed on. Those would be, for instance, as I mentioned, 3 Spot. There was also a leopard known as One Eye. Now, One Eye passed away many years ago, but some of his remains have remained. So HT is going to show you something about leopard, and we'll see you back here in a bit.
Unbelievable. Leopard, absolutely fantastic. Mvula, born in 2005, 10 years old, fantastic leopard, beautiful. He's got that look about him, as Peter said. As soon as he looks down the barrel at you, you really know that you're looking at a leopard. Peter talked about a few different things. I just wanted to show you the difference between the size of a leopard and a lion's skull. We've talked about these before, but it's just good to come back and look at them. That is a lion skull, a lioness actually, and that is a leopard. So there's a considerable size difference there, okay? But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about One Eye, and also a little bit about when leopards get older, what happens. Now this particular individual here is One Eye's skull. Now One Eye was an individual that only had one eye. He had an injury in one of his eyes, but he still carried on, and he got to a ripe old age of about sort of 12, 14 I think it was. And he was the first habituated leopard in this area. And habituation is a very, very interesting thing. The word habituation means that it's getting the animals used to humans. So it's a very important thing for us in tourism to make sure that, as Peter said, the animals are used to the vehicle, they're used to humans, and they don't have a fear of that. So it's a slow, gradual process. Every time we get close to an animal, it's an habituation process. It makes them a bit more comfortable with us. It allows us to spend a longer time and have a better encounter with them. So that habituation process is very, very important and has to be done correctly. One Eye, however, he was the habituated first habituated leopard, as I said, but he got to an age where things started to go wrong. I want you to take a look at this skull. We've talked about these teeth. This is a female leopard just here. Sorry to chop and change. This is a female leopard here, a young one, and with all the teeth intact. What happened to One Eye was he started to lose his teeth, and you can see here he's lost a lower canine just there, okay, that one there, and he's lost an upper canine here as well, okay. Now watch what happens when I close this and that bite goes down. He had extreme trauma here in this section just here, where this canine was rubbing against the upper gum when he lost this canine. So it's the lower canine coming down and touching and rubbing on this. This was an abscess just here. All this granulation or this calcification on the skull is the remnants of an abscess. So he was in immense pain. And also, if I look under here, same sort of thing in that area there. All that calcification is remnants of an abscess. He's losing his very closely aligned incisors there as well. He was in immense pain. Now, when an animal gets to that level, when they're in immense pain, they start to take chances. They start to go for easier prey. They might move on to a domestic situation where they will start to take domestic animals off, or livestock, or even pets for that matter. And that's when you have a human-animal conflict zone occurring. It's not always fantastic. There's very, very difficult times that occur there, and sometimes the animal has to be removed. But this guy here, we've still got his skull to tell the story, and it's just interesting to see that once that happens and their vigor starts to drop, they start to go into a place where they're in the great savannah in the sky, I suppose you could say. But they will get to a point where they can't hunt anymore, and they'll either have to be removed, or they will die, or go to another predator. Very interesting story to One Eye. A beautiful leopard. He made a lot of people happy, and a lot of people had a great time with him. The first habituated leopard in this area. Right, let's cross back to that beautiful leopard in Mvula and see what's going on.
Information there from HT in the safari tent, and we have a number of things in common. Apart from being great friends, HT is a fantastic guy. But he could hear the cicadas, and we can hear the cicadas. Shows you that lots of insects around. You can hear that buzzing sound. We can also hear the fish next to us. That's how densely, sort of superly, I almost want to say like soup they put together. I don't know how to explain that properly, but I know I've said this a few times, but you must look at this again. We've changed our position. All of that, all those little dots you see on the water, all of it are fish. Thicker than pea soup. Body against body. This is desperate days for them. Every single dot is one fish. You can see the lines of their heads there. All these dramas and interesting stories playing itself out in the bush. Charles, I'm going to get to you very shortly. Just a quick thing that what Hayden was saying is the leopard that he was talking about, One Eye, and a fascinating sort of backstory to that as well. But One Eye was the first leopard that was habituated in this area. I just want to quickly touch on that term, habituation or habituated leopard. That would be perfectly illustrated by this leopard. He's just lying there. He doesn't mind that we're here, and it's normally because either they've been, through exposure to vehicles, gotten used to it, like in the case of One Eye. So he was actually an adult that got habituated. And then other leopard, like many of these guys, like Mvula and Karula and so on, they've been grown up with their parents being already used to vehicles, and they accept the vehicles. Not accept, it is part of the environment. The same as trees, and the same as elephant, and the same as other leopard. They grow used to vehicles just being there. They see them from very small. I think he's dreaming. No, I was hoping he's getting up, but just a little dream there. Charles, you were just asking if we are in an area known as Leopard Gorge. There are various leopard gorges over Africa because, oh, look at that face. Look at those eyes. We are certainly in leopard gorges. Mvula is one of the most beautiful, gorgeous leopards I've ever seen. So, Charles, no, we're not in Leopard Gorge specifically. Where we are, and you'll see it just now, is we are in Africa. So, to be more specific, southern Africa as we go, sort of from the outside going into the continent. Southern Africa, Kruger National Park, and then within Kruger National Park, there's a private area known as Sabi Sands Game Reserve. And within Sabi Sands, there are different private parts. Imagine different boroughs of a city or different houses in a suburb, different farms or different areas in Sabi Sands. We are at this moment at Buffelshoek Dam in Djuma. We also drive around Arathusa Game Reserve, which is just a little bit further to the west from us. So west of us would be, well, roughly in the same direction as South America if you were to sort of, go out in the bigger picture of the earth again. So that's where we are. And generally speaking, we don't get a lot of mountains and rocky outcrops right where we are, but only about 50 miles or so, not even 40 miles towards our west, towards where the sun is busy setting. We've got the Great Escarpment, which is the continuation of the Rift Valley all the way up to East Africa, and it makes what is actually the longest mountain range in the world, running through southern Africa all the way along the edge of the continent. So we are in the low veld, so there's big mountains and massive gorges which would certainly have leopard in them towards our west, but we are in that area below the escarpment, below the high veld, and between the ocean, the Indian Ocean, which would be to our east. Amazing. Actually, let me take a seat here as well. Hello, Amy. You are from Sterlington. Sorry, I got a bug in my throat there. I'll have to catch it and give it to Hayden so he can show you what it is. Guys, this is really funny. I must share something with you. We are live right now, and that's amazing. We're sitting with a leopard, and to have you guys visiting us here is absolutely just such a pleasure and a privilege. I must just say that. Let's just take this moment to say, to sit with a leopard next to a warthog in Africa with people from around the world passionate about wildlife joining us, that is just a massive privilege and a massive pleasure. So thank you very much for joining us, firstly. Secondly, what often happens to me, which happened there, is people ask me a question, and there's so many things going on, and you think, how can I answer that to make it really interesting, because I really want them to enjoy this, and I know you are, but still I want to give you the best possible experience. And then in that moment, I forget what you asked me. That's what happened there just now. Amy, you were asking, do we get smaller and other kinds of cats here? Yes, we do. We get caracal, which are a lot like lynx. We get African wildcat, which is call it the ancestor of the domestic cat, very similar looking. Cheetah, obviously a big cat. Serval look like small cheetahs, beautiful, beautiful cats. A serval is a bit bigger than a house cat. They're quite tall. They would be about the size of like a medium-sized dog. Those are the first ones I could think of quickly off the top of my head. Another species we get you, which is fascinating, and if you haven't seen this yet, Amy and anyone else on Drive with us at the moment, if this is maybe your first drive with Safari Live, we've seen them a number of times over the last few drives. They are fascinating. They're not cats, but they're also not dogs. They fit somewhere in between, but they are amazing to see, and we're very lucky that at the moment we have, sorry, there was a fly flying past. At the moment we have a den here, and we can see the little one. So you are in for such a big treat right now. Look at this. Timing getting back from a beautiful hyena den, aren't they just magic? Mvula has just lifted his head up. The sun has now set. We've still got color in the sky, but the sun has dipped below the horizon, and this is when leopards tend to get active. But I just have to just say the obvious again perhaps, but isn't this just absolutely incredible to sit this close to one of the magnificent or most magnificent of big cats? Leopard are just, oh, I get so happy every time I see a leopard. Of the big five, perhaps the most difficult to see in many reserves. Sabi Sands, where we are, is world renowned for the quality of leopard viewing. And Shannon, you were just asking James, and he was answering you about the big five and how often we see them. But as James said, you know, in this area, and I'm sure you said something like this, this is one of the top areas for that. So we have a higher success rate here than many places, and especially because we can see leopard. Let's look at another game drive vehicle joining us. You'll hear them coming in just now. So the leopard is sometimes the most difficult of the big five to find. So that's why it's such a massive sort of treat for us to see a leopard. Of course, lion, the other big cat in the big five. Cheetah aren't in the big five. And then the other three big ones, rhino, buffalo, and elephant. We're going to be staying with him. I'm hoping he gets active. I know he is going to. It's just whether it's now or in 5 seconds or in 10 seconds. However, in a few seconds, about 12 from now, you're going to have a short break. We're going to stay here, and when you get back, we will be with the leopard, and if not, we will certainly try and stick with him. So see you after the break, and we are going to have more Big Cat Week beauty with us here in Africa. So peaceful here. We've just had a game drive join us here. And I know that he won't mind me mentioning his name, Johan. He's got his family with him. And it's just such a special thing. They're sitting just behind us here. We're not going to show them now, but Johan and his family are here watching this, and they've got these big smiles on their faces. It's one of the things I love about safaris, is obviously looking at a leopard like this is unbelievable, but it's just to see the happy faces. You get game drive vehicles coming in, families, friends, people on holiday, people on safari. And they just have these like big eyes and big smiles, and you can just see them being amazed by nature and by these animals we see. This specific leopard, which is why I've got like a little secret smile, if you want, for Johan and his family. His son, who's about, they can hang out together down the line, by the way. Sydney's also 4, but his son's favorite leopard of all the leopard they see is this guy. So you've got a little boy, a 4-year-old, sitting back here, and he's so happy because he's seeing a leopard that he knows really well. His sister, by the way, loves Karula, so we might have to try and find her as well. But that really is one of the beauties of safari. It's just seeing how it affects people, how it makes them feel good and happy and interested in nature. As you know, you're sitting here with us. This is why you're here. Enjoy the experience. For those of you, many of you that are sitting here now, while many others are on ad break, I know that you've done this sometimes for hundreds of hours, even thousands of hours. Many of you I consider real friends that I know well and that know me well. And that friendship is born and found in a mutual passion, sharing and enjoying a moment like this, and knowing that you've seen this in the past together, knowing that we will see this again in the future as well, makes that search for it so much more fun as well. So the more I think about it, and I've been thinking about it a lot the last couple of weeks, building up to Big Cat Week, and I actually went and I read up on the word safari. Safari is such an amazing descriptive term. One of the things on safari would be that moment when the leopard lifts his head and you can see his eyes, you can see his tail flicking in the background. Those are all things that make a safari. But safari also describes the day where you get up early, you're out there before the sun is up, you enjoy the early morning, you have a late brunch, you have a sleep or a rest during the day, active again late afternoon, and then normally around a fire for dinner, friends, discussions, talks. That's all what's safari. Oh, let's get a few pictures. Oh, he's beautiful, my goodness. I love this time of day for photographing leopard. Let's get a few pictures before there's too many people again and we can't take pictures. Don't want to make noise for when everyone is here. But this time of day, for those of you into photography, wildlife photography, I know that's a huge hobby for many passionate wildlife enthusiasts. This time of day to photograph cats, and especially leopard, is absolutely brilliant because, sorry, that was meant to be brilliant, not brilliant, brilliant. Because their pupils get bigger, because the light is lower, the pupils get larger, and on the image itself, it just really stands out beautifully. So if you're ever photographing a leopard, this time of day is one of the best times for it. Make sure you take a beanbag with, or a tripod, or some sort of stabilizing device, because you're shooting very low shutter speed sometimes. And is that just not the dream moment for any wildlife photographer, amateur or professional? Guys, just before everyone gets back, that's what I mean with a bean bag. Literally full of beans. I'm thinking he might get up any minute. Yeah, the Franklin's calling, cicadas still making a lot of noise. And we're just about to come out of ad break for those watching on television, so we'll just tell them what's happened here in the meantime. Bug's bugging him. Well, that is about the best return from ad break I've ever had in terms of this brilliant, perfect timing. Glad you just made it back now, because he just got up, well, not up, but lifted his head, flicking his tail at insects. He almost rolled around just now, trying to chase them. I'm hoping he's going to get a bit playful. Sometimes when the flies annoy them enough, they will try and chase them away with their tail, but they'll, like that, even try and catch them. I don't think it's going to fill him up and make him less hungry. This is exactly what I hoped would happen. I'm so glad everyone's back for this. Amazing light. There's few times better in the day to enjoy and appreciate leopard in this light. It's just after the sun is set. I was just talking to some of the guests in the vehicle that it's also a brilliant time for photographing leopard because the pupils are slightly larger, and that was absolutely perfect timing for you guys to get back. I'm so glad you could see this. It's a little bit sort of I wouldn't quite call it bush comedy, but certainly worth a laugh, seeing that even those little flies can bug something as regal and beautiful as a leopard. As he's just taking a quick nap, we'll get you back here as soon as he gets more active again, but we were talking about the cicadas. Listen carefully around us. The noisy ones you hear are francolins, those are birds, but that constant buzzing, bzzz, that sound, that's a cicada. And Hayden's going to show you something about cicadas in the tent, and we'll get you back here to Arathusa in the tent. Well, absolutely amazing behavior around that hyena den. We've been so spoiled with those hyenas. Oh, look at that. Oh, these cats just mesmerize me every time. I generally don't have a problem talking, as you may have noticed, but it does leave me speechless every so often when they just move or you just see them in a certain way. As James was telling you, the hyena den, well, firstly, fantastic to see that youngster getting so adventurous. She's starting to explore her world. Quite soon she'll be starting to explore the vehicles, the safari vehicles that stop there and come and have a look around as well. They're absolutely fascinating hyenas. And the other thing about hyena dens that I love is they really open up people's minds about hyenas. People tend to have such a misconception, even negative perception of hyena, until they've seen them at a den like that. Absolutely beautiful. Speaking of lighting, James explained to you the hyena den, because there's a youngster, we don't put the lights on them. And, sorry, I'm sort of sitting, I've gotten into like a couch position here. The car is standing at a bit of a funny angle. Many of the diurnal animals, we don't keep lights on them for prolonged periods of time. But things like nocturnal cats, like the leopard in this case. Now, I want to show you something before we go too close. Just having a look at how we put the light. You'll see I don't put the light, and he's looking away now, so I'm going to show you. We don't put the light like that. That's obviously impolite. If he was looking at me, I wouldn't even have shown you that. Put the light just in front. You see how the light here in front that you can see is just reflecting off the ground onto him, giving him a bit sort of softer light. Makes it both better for seeing him, but also doesn't affect him. Now, nocturnal hunters like leopard, like lion, their eyes are designed in a way, the cone and the rod structure in the eye is fascinating compared to the human eye. So it does limit to an extent, not fully, but it does limit their perception of color. They don't see as much color as we do, but they certainly can see a lot more in a lot less light. But their eyes can recover so quickly, in fact instantly, so it doesn't really affect them at all at night, which is why we can follow them with spotlights. But obviously because of that young hyena and the sensitivity of the den, we are extra sensitive about them as well. Sue, you were just asking, could lions come past here and how would that affect this leopard? Absolutely, without a doubt, Sue. The chance that lions could arrive here is you know, very, very, very good. In fact, if we sat with a leopard next to this waterhole for enough times, I would say probably not even that many times, let's say 10, 20 times, you'll have lion walking up here at some stage. Especially this time of night. This is also when lions are getting active, hyenas are getting active, all your nocturnal creatures are getting active. And it certainly is possible that a lion could arrive at any second. The leopard will just avoid the lion, because lions will sometimes hurt them or kill them. So leopard will just move away. Hello, Carissa. Asking which waterhole we are at, and unfortunately, we're not at the Djuma waterhole where the waterhole camera is during the day. This is one further towards the northeastern side. We are here at Buffelshoek Dam. But Carissa, you go on a lot of game drives and safaris with us, and you watch the waterholes, and you're just asking for a shout out. And I don't typically do a lot of shout outs here, but certainly I can give a huge shout out to all of you that for so many months and years and days and times have spent time with us here on safari, all the way through until this sort of the latest, best experience with Safari Live. What an exciting time. And I know many of you are excited about this as well, to see how we've, let's say, come this far to where we now have potentially, and I'm hoping this is the case during Big Cat Week, because Big Cat Week is absolutely fascinating and beautiful, and obviously dealing with big cats, which we are watching now. But how exciting to have potentially millions of people on one safari vehicle. That is just exciting on so many levels. Let's try and move this light a little bit. See if I can just balance it. No, keep it there. Cody, you asked a question earlier as well. You're obviously loving the game drive. Nice to have talkative people on drive as well. Cody is out of Indiana. interesting state. I've actually traveled in Indiana, believe it or not. Asking how do we ID this leopard. Let's just see if he stays the way he is now. If you look very carefully, we're going to look at his facial areas. Typically you would use the whisker spots. I'll try and point them out to you, but above the whisker line, let me just try and get my light steady. There we go. If you look at his face, Cody, well, everyone else, I'm going to try and point it out. He's in a bit of a funny position here. Where are we? There we go. Around his nose, so behind the nose, but above that sort of line running along the whisker area, there's a few spots there, almost like a triangular shape. Now, every leopard has different spots above that whisker line, and you can get almost like a barcode from it. That would be the way that you would start. But with leopard, essentially, once you've looked at them a few times, you normally find some aspect of the facial markings that you can recognize easily. Karula, that female leopard I kept on talking about earlier in the afternoon, we recognize her from the word wow that's almost spelled out in spots on her forehead between the eyes. And once you've seen that wow, you see it every time. And I remember back when it was first recognized, I think it was Claire on the drive that saw it. I can't remember, please correct me if I have the wrong person, but that was just brilliant because once we'd seen it, we all see it. Oh, big yawn, big teeth. Caught us a bit unaware that we didn't think he was going to do anything, and a yawn is normally a good sign as well because it preempts movement. Quite often they'll yawn before they get up and move. So we might see this. We've got a few minutes left with the safari before you have to go. Wow, we have Karula. Have a look.
Well, everybody, when it mvulas, it pours. Another poor joke from me. This is a wonderful female leopard called Shadow. Just a beautiful 9-year-old female leopard. And she's sitting here peacefully by this pan. And we think this is Shadow, who's a beautiful female leopard, 9 years old. Karula, who I think was mentioned to you, is an 11-year-old, and that would be this leopard's mother. Unless I've very much mistaken the identification. I've only just got here. I'll try and have a look with my eyes here. I mean binoculars. All right, we're going to meet her again tomorrow with any luck. Let's head back to Mvula. Leopards all over the place. See you later.
Guys, this leopard is right next to us. That's the vehicle you can see there in the corner. That's where VM's sitting in the back. He's just gotten... How amazing, firstly, to find Karula as well. Are we going to see him? He's right behind us now. We're going to try and show you. Let me just turn a little bit, VM. There he goes. But how absolutely amazing that they found Karula as well. We were hoping to find her. We were looking for her. I'm just so super happy. What an afternoon. And guys, I would be making a lot more noise because, trust me, I'm very happy. But we have 2 other vehicles here with us, so I have to keep them on. Look at the stunning reflection on the water there as well. Wow, what a sighting. Male leopard Mvula with us. Karula just been found. It happened so quickly. I'm not even sure who found it. I presume James. Oh, guys, safari in Africa. We've said this many times. You will experience it many times with us live in the bush. You never know what's going to happen next. You never know what's going to happen next. As Hayden likes to say, you go around the next corner and boom, there's something. That's why I just love going out there, looking around, looking for things, and these moments of absolute pure bliss and magic find you. He's listening to the fish. That's what he's doing. It would be amazing if this guy goes in and grabs a fish. And on that note, if you joined us for this drive yesterday, this is the same leopard. I mentioned it earlier, but if you've just joined us, this is the same leopard that gave us the runaround. And to have found him this afternoon in such a beautiful setting, what a highlight. Brent was also helping with the tracking yesterday. He's the one that tracked down the leopard you just saw him. Sounds to me on the radio, sorry, there's so much happening now. Female leopard that we saw just now. This big male, look at that dewlap. He's absolutely gorgeous. He'll be patrolling tonight. We'll be looking for him again tomorrow. And yeah, I'm almost speechless. I'm not going to say too much more. Thank you so much for joining Safari Live, Nat.Geo Wild. This is amazing. to be in Africa live and to have you guys on safari. It doesn't get better than this. This has been awesome from myself, Peter Pretorius, and everyone out here at Djuma Game Reserve. It has been stunning. We will see you again tomorrow. Enjoy the leopard, whatever he's doing.
Well, everybody on the web, I hope that you have stayed with us, and wonderful if you've been on TV and kept with us on the web. This is Karula, it's not Shadow. She has moved an enormous distance since we last saw her at Buffelshoek Dam, where you've been enjoying Mvula. What an amazing privilege. Now, if you're perhaps a new viewer and you've stuck with us after the TV broadcast to stay on the web, she's most easily identified by the word wow that's written across her forehead between her eyes. If you can get a screenshot, that's the best way to do it. Get a screenshot, high quality screenshot, and try and zoom in between her eyes. And she's an 11-year-old female, same age as Mvula. And just remember, if you are perhaps a new viewer and just joined us from TV, you're obviously on WildSafariLive.com, otherwise you wouldn't be there. But just remember that we will do this daily, 6 hours a day, 365 days a year, and even next year we'll probably do it 366 days, with it being a leap year, if I'm not much mistaken. So we'll do the same thing every day, and you can join us on safari every day. It's just a wonderful thing to be able to do. That's going to be it from us today. Well, I'm not afraid. I mean, what a bumper afternoon we've had. It was started off extremely quietly. We had, the highlight of the first part of my afternoon was a smelly dead tilapia fish, which wasn't particularly exciting. We'll keep the light on the leopard there. And after that, 2 leopards, hyenas, and a huge thank you, of course, to Brent, who found this leopard here. He's just off over there. Okay, we're going to wrap it up now as Karula goes moving. Please stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, and thank you for staying with us. Thank you for talking to us, and we'll see you tomorrow during the dawn of the golden African wilderness that we have here. See you. Bye-bye.